So that stuff will get clearer here 5.3-ish, I think, when the character sheet is going in, when you can actually tooltip over any stat and it tells you what that stat description is as well as what its cap is.
Right. I guess we show those, or we will be showing those in the skill tree. Do we show those in the skill tree now or not yet?
In the skill tree, they will get the brief description upcoming, but it will be more detailed on the character sheet. So that we are trying to make things clear.
Right.
Let's go into Druid Spark.
Sure. Oh yeah. So So this was actually a piece of feedback that you guys let us know. And so we split Spark into another Spark. So Spark has been replaced by Focus Spark in the Death Tray. This version of Spark hits a single target only and causes more damage than the original AoE version.
And that was something we talked about a month ago in the first one of these.
Right.
Which was, it was designed to be a splitter, and you guys wanted a single target one, so we gave you a single target one. Yeah. So there you go. Removing an extra line of durability experimentation for Bolin Stafe recipe. Durability still, in fact, you know what Steve was talking about durability last week? He found out that it wasn't being persisted at all, so he made a fix so it should get persisted. I think he's in the 5.2, so that one will come out in the next big update, I'm hoping.
Should see things breaking.
So, well, actually, what was happening was they were crafting and putting stats into it, and it was coming out way better than the template values, but it wasn't persisting that.
Right.
So it was just going and grabbing a template value, which is roughly
junk compared to
20% or 10% of what you could get it to. So things are about to start lasting a lot longer than they used to, as long as the persistent stuff works.
And then classes, oh right, so we increase base hit points by 75% to offset the lack of advanced armor. Again, this was basically feedback because, basically we're expecting you to have higher mitigation values than people have right now. And in fact, actually even higher health totals for that matter, because there's appreciable attributes that are missing from the equation now too, since we don't have formal vessel crafting and vessel, racial skills, all that stuff. So to that end, we just basically quick fix to increase hit points by 75%. Yes, that does basically make healing harder, but
yeah, I mean the goal there in the future is that will be replaced by factory crafted armor once people start making ridiculous factory crafted armor. Once you have factories, right now you're handcrafting it all, and it's kind of very tedious. It won't be once they have blueprints.
Right.
So the only stuff that will really be handcrafted, if I remember correctly, is the necromancy stuff.
Yes.
We're expecting everybody else to use factories for most of the other things, and
which means more perfect or near perfect results, since you can try.
We always assume that you're going to get near the top end of stuff because we know how people are, and once you get a manufacturing schematic, there will be 30 or 40 instances of that perfect thing for that factory run. So we're thinking ahead, and basically this is just a stopgap fix until we get that stuff, and then we'll bring it back down to where we want to. At the end of the day, it all ends up being health, effective health. I mean, it's
health versus effective health. That basically means it's harder to heal, but wins. And then we added a mana cost to fireballs for confessors.
Yeah, if you remember the original design, and I still want us to get back to it as near as we can, was the Confessor would burn the hell out of something and just dump all of their powers, and then they'd have to go into Fervor, a bit of downtime, and get some mana back. And they can kind of circumvent some of the Fervor time with, there's a passive that lets you stand still to get some faster regeneration, and then there's another passive where their crits, the Righteousness, I believe, proc, gets them some resource back. But we're not quite, I don't think it's as tuned as tight as I'd like it to be on Confessor, but we will get it to that point where they can just mana dump, and then they need to go into a period of time where they need to get mana back. We haven't seen that really since early Hunger days, Hunger Dome days, but we'll get back to it. I mean, it's just a tuning issue. And let's go to the exciting new stuff.
Yes.
So this is the stuff that we've been building up for the 5.2 eventual drop. And here's some of those fun patch notes. Upgrade to Unity 5.6.1 is in this build. So there was a bunch of, let's see, there was some terrain navigation stuff.
The biggest thing was probably the garbage collection. right? So this Unity 5.6 has, I think, better garbage collection stuff. So that actually should make some of the hitching go away, which it did. We've noticed a lack of hitching.
So yeah, we're continually working on optimization, and sometimes we just get it when we do a Unity upgrade, which is great. Okay, so campaign list now automatically updates. This will happen every 30 seconds when a scenario isn't selected or when the pages are changed. Added a stats fix for child stats affected by skills training. The amount of training child stats was off by a few points, but now should be fixed. So yeah, we continue to hammer on the math for the skills to stats conversions, because we really want to make sure that everything is being calculated correctly, because the whole concept of having these parent stats that raise children's stats, and then it has to go through again and again and recalculate things. Obviously, you could end up in a scenario where you would endlessly be doing that, and we don't want to do that. But we also want to make sure you guys are getting all the stats that we are giving you in the skill trees from equipment, from powers, etc. So those fixes continue to be made. Okay, I want you to talk about the map tool.
Map tool. So, map tool. Support for maps and campaign and EK worlds has been added. Press M to view map in current position. Press M to close the map window. That's right, you finally have an in-game map in-game. We press M. Yay!
Yay, but that map only shows...
the world.
It only shows areas that you have revealed.
Oh, right. The next bullet point, Fog of War, appear on the maps until the area is fully discovered.
Yes, so having a map is going to obviously change things a lot, because you're going to actually know what's going on.
Yeah, you'll you find that place where the Hellcats are spawning, you'll be like, it's right there, and I know how to get back to there.
Well, this also introduces the idea that I can actually scribe map segments on my map and then give them to you, who hasn't explored the map.
You're like, here's the fort that we will be raiding tonight.
So you'll actually be able to see and share maps between each other, which is really cool. So the scouting stuff is eventually where this will be going. I think Bentley gave us some stat functionality where you can increase the stat that reveals your fog is bigger. You can scribe bigger maps. You can reveal more during nighttime. You can reveal more during daytime. So we're starting to get a bunch of stats. In fact, I think I made a scout discipline for testing purposes. It's not in the list yet, but it gives you the max value, so he had something to test with when he was implementing it. We'll have to tune those values for actual release.
Added cartography and cartography components to the crafting menu recipes for creating a blank map. So there you go, geomancy and...
So yeah, so you will need some crafting action if you want to be able to scribe those maps.
And this leads to a very big category with lots of detail, but can be summed up into soft targeting. So basically disciplines, major disciplines, weapon disciplines, and pretty much most powers.
Melee powers.
Most melee powers, and a handful of range powers should be much easier to hit with melee powers now, or after that change goes in.
Yeah.
And effectively what that does is it just, so client server architecture, some of you guys know how this works, right? If you've been playing MMOs for a while, you realize that what you see on the screen, you're effectively playing in the past, right? What you see on the screen is not necessarily exactly what's happening on the server.
Correct.
So if I'm sitting there, I see Blair, I see Blair right here. Let's see, I don't know where my hands are. And I'm facing Blair on my screen, and I do a punch, and I look like I should be hitting Blair, but actually Blair at this point is really over here, and I've actually missed Blair. That's always the conundrum with trying to have an action game that has melee combat. Those things are much less a problem when you're looking down your bow sights. That's much less of a problem. There's much less movement. But when you have a situation where you can circle strafe around, that actually you're going to be missing when it looks like you should be hitting. So what the soft targeting does is basically, if you're hitting on your client, that we say, hey, that's close enough, right? So basically, it's that and a bunch. It's more than that, but it's basically a lot of things to basically make it so that if you are aiming properly, with what you see on the screen is a a little more authoritative than it would be normally. So it should be a lot easier to hit, and it is a lot easier. Not should be, but is actually.
Yeah. So the melee guys, it shouldn't be as. I mean, the end result is it shouldn't be as frustrating to play a melee character as it has been up until this point.
Right.
Which is, I think I should be hitting. I think I should be hitting.
And you just don't.
And you just don't. Like my reticle was clearly on top of you in the playback video. I saw my reticle, but really the server had. You're playing in the past, just like Mark said. So now it will feel much better for all of the melee characters. We're hoping. Tell us what you think once you guys get your hands on it. But
it feels a lot better. I mean, it's like it's almost night and day. It's a lot better. So.
Yeah, I mean, we were just fighting with the internet there, and this is just another way. This is one of the techniques to account for internet latency and make it feel like, because he was under your reticle, you should have hit him, right?
Hit him. You're doing the right thing.
You shouldn't have to lead a target based on variable internet latency, because it just doesn't work.
Right.
So there was a lot of effort put into that. A lot of the powers have been updated to do that, or to use that technique. The range stuff does not. That still uses pretty much.
Yeah, there's a handful of them, but there's just not many.
Right.
We call it the ones that do that. So we list out all those for the major and web. I'm not going to do that.
Blazing just said client-side hit detection. It is not.
It is not client-side.
It is not client-side hit detection at all, Blazing. It is again. It is just accounting for the difference between the server position of the player and the client position of the player. Basically meaning we're more generous with our raycast. It's actually a sphere cast, if you really need to know it. It's not actually and a sphere cast means it's bigger. We tried it with rectangles in the past, and it wasn't as good as we wanted to.
Yeah.
This technique is
there's a lot of different things going on.
Yeah.
With this, it's more it's definitely not just client-side hit detection. It's a lot of several different techniques.
Yeah. So yeah, please don't start that kind of thing. Yes. It really is. It makes it feel better. It's not locking onto that target in any way. It's just being more generous with the shape that it's using. Like I said, we used rectangles in the past. We're trying the sphere cast now. It feels a lot better.
Right. And you still have to aim and hit.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
If the reticle isn't on there, you're still going to miss. It is still possible to miss with melee attacks. But if you were to watch a video replay of why did I just miss, you'd be like, oh, my reticle wasn't anywhere near the target. The problem we were having was the reticle was on the target and people were still missing.
Yeah.
And that was because of the, obviously the internet latency that we were not accounting for.
Right.
So bottom line is it should feel better, and it's still just as skillful as it was. You still have to put the reticle on the target. It's just going to, when you put the reticle on the target, it's actually going to hit here and not be a kind of a luck of the draw. Was the internet latency in my favor or not?
So let's see, Field Surgeon, a couple different things with Field Surgeon. Correct an issue preventing noble purpose. Right. Oh, there was actually, oddly enough, despite all the hullabaloo noble purpose was causing, there was actually a couple cases where it didn't work, and it was actually the one we cared more about, which was like when you were healing other people. Worked really good when you're healing yourself. And to that end, noble purpose no longer works on yourself and can only trigger once every 15 seconds. This basically puts noble purpose in the realm of every other resource restoration type of discipline.
Yep.
Right. And then we also changed rehabilitation so it only heals your target, doesn't heal you. As much as we all loved it, it was too much of a, hey, this is the ultimate self-heal, which was not the intention of that ability at all. Master of Focus, nerfed. No. The pushback effect from Nova can only affect a target once, and then tune the damage so it's a little closer to where it should have been. So basically what that means is Nova will pull you in once, and will not just keep pulling you back and forth, Blair.
Okay, powers. Blocking and parrying no longer prevent control effects when exposed.
Yeah, and so this is something we're trying. And this is sort of the another thing that was causing a lot of concern on forums was, and again, this was like noble purpose or fields. A couple of the disciplines were being blamed for this, and actually, what I found looking into it, it was just Templar was working really well.
Okay.
And so basically blocking is really good, and being able to effectively block and heal at the same time, it's really, really, really good. Turns out. And this is not going to get any better when we add Cleric, who gets block. Right? So if
Cleric block is pretty insane.
Right. If you think Templar's bad,
wait till you
get a Cleric. So to that end, basically, and just trying this, let us know if you don't like it, but basically, so it is easier to shut down a blocker without having to equip a potentially rare discipline. Basically, expose targets, or when you're exposed, you are no longer immune to crowd control effects when you block or parry. So what that means is, if you have a Templar or a Cleric just turtling up with their hots rolling, you can knock them down.
Yeah, so basically it gives you a way to knock somebody out of a block.
Right.
I mean, in an action game, it would be called a block breaker or whatever.
Right.
Right. So
another, basically specialists can help out the group by making the blockers a little.
So you need to bring your specialists along to stop people from essentially blocking. Yep, and turtling. So counterplay, great stuff. So we have 12 minutes, so we should show. Let's see, is there any really hot ticket? So we still have another page and a half of stuff in here. What is the biggest?
Too much stuff here. Let's see.
There's some tooltip fixes, all of the single target melee stuff.
Yeah, a lot of this is actually the soft targeting was a big.
Templar ultimate can now be used while stunned, knocked down, or suppressed.
Oh, yes, that's a good one.
That's a good fix for the Templar.
Yep.
Templar cannot gain supercharge while the health buff from Brilliance is active.
Yeah, and that's basically just
to prevent them from
a little balance tweak.
And then we're into known issues, which is great because we don't need to talk about known issues because you see them every week and they will get fixed in the future. We thought we would show you the race class split stuff is well underway.
Yep.
Jack, why don't you bring up the Ganesan? We have one another one that we can show you today.
There you go.
Yay! Okay, so there is the Ganesan.
Love the icon.
Yeah, you're just like, hey, he's a little rat guy. Okay, so Mark went through and made a balance pass at the numbers that go on all these guys, the attributes that are being granted. You'll notice bigger, chunkier amounts of attributes being granted.
Yeah.
So the Ganesan get a 60 dex bonus, which feeds into the duelist, and a big intellect bonus, which feeds into the cleric, because of support power based off of.
Support power is based off of spirit, but what we talked about yesterday.
Yes. I'm sorry, their healing bonus comes from intellect.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
as well.
right. Yeah,
right. So Ganesans will make good clerics.
Mm-hmm.
Also, their bloodline passive is they reduce stamina cost for jumping. They don't pay a penalty at all, and for just stamina usage, they don't. Your 200 every stamina ticks. They don't pay a food cost. They get a dodge, obviously, and then they get Ganesan Burrow. So this is a stealth power, which will put them. This is a toggle power that you have to put on your bar. So all of our stealth powers that we currently have, the Duelist Burrow and the Assassin Stealth, are actually going to be activated by either any key that you map it to cycle to that tray.
Mm-hmm. So it's not going to eat a bar slot.
So it's not going to eat a power tray slot. The Ganesan Racial Burrow is going to eat a bar slot, and it is a toggle power. They have to turn it on, and when it's on, it's gradually draining stamina over time. So the idea being, yes, Ganesans get Burrow, they get Stealth. I think it lasts for up to 3 minutes, which is a very long time. But it's not as good as the classes who get Stealth as their thing.
They can basically live in Stealth if they want.
Right. They can, those guys, the Assassins and the Duelists, will be able to live in Stealth. The Ganesan Burrow, it's still insane that you have Knights and Clerics that can sneak around for up to 3 minutes before they have to pop up and get some stamina back. But it's similar to the Wood Elf Camouflage, which is also a bar slot toggle power. Yeah, it's kind of nice how we're refining how the rules on how these things work. So the natural stealth and all that stuff is now part of the tray, and it gets a button, whereas These get bar slots. And they get saltpeter rounds, which is pistol shots can snare targets. So the Ganesan burrow isn't as useful for duelist. So we gave saltpeter rounds, so there's something in there useful for duelists. I think that icon is wrong though, because that looks like an ultimate
It does
icon.
look like an ultimate icon.
And that in fact is not an ultimate. It is just a.
Should be a passive, right?
No, it's actually a buff. That should be a triangle up. It should be a.
Oh, so it's something you use?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like for the next 30 seconds, all pistol shots can now apply a snare.
Got it.
So.
We should actually notice too. If we actually are changing the scales of attributes a little bit. Before we were sort of. We more or less kind of doubled what we assume their maxes are going to be, because up to this point we were sort of assuming that caps were going to be like you were going to get to the 130, 150ish range. Now we basically have, to give us a little more headroom, we've increased that to probably closer to 250, 300 for max attributes. So.
Yep, there are new things in the works that require we have more headroom, and we'll probably talk about that in the future. We can answer some questions. We have 10 minutes because we like to talk a lot, and we're really excited about the things we're doing.
Yep, we have like 14 pages of passwords.
Also, substance on the statistics granted for the Ganesan. Substance means they convert food into chicken ticker better. So they get like a 10% bonus on the food that they eat.
They eat less.
They require less ultimately. Okay, so what questions do we have, Jack? Have you been storing down the good ones?
I have been watching, but I've also been telling them to kind of hold off until you guys got through everything, because we wanted to keep it pretty narrow to what you guys were talking about today.
Oh, Blason just said duelists can wear plate too. Interesting that he says that, because part of the race class split will be giving a specific armor type to each class as their main, and then you can use disciplines to get into the other armor types if you want to. So if you want a duelist to wear plate, that one is going to be something you have to find, and it will come out of your disciplines. So yes, it's great that we built all of the armor for all of the races, so we can let them use everything. However, they won't get them all for free. I would expect them to be armor mastery disciplines or something in a tree. More than likely, the armor mastery disciplines. Okay, what do we got? Is it intended, this from Zybeck, is it intended that power cost multipliers get pip classes to the point where discipline powers are free?
No.
Does that currently happen, Zybeck?
I mean, there are cases of that happening. If there are cases, if that's still happening, you should definitely let us know. Some of those were fixed, so that maybe that's, if we go back to the patch note we were talking about, Blood Pact and all those others, should hopefully be fixed. But if they're not, please let us know after
yeah, actually, let us after 5.2 is out there. Then please, get us a list and we'll look at it.
Yeah.
Crowfall, are we going to lose the armor skills in the passive tree since the classes will be locked to certain armors? And the answer to that is no, because your skill tree is account based.
Yeah.
Right? So you're building your crow via the skill tree, and you have to be able to jump into different vessel types. Right? So you will want to train those skills over time. You might just align with classes that wear plate because that's where your training is. And once you make it through the plate training, you may start on leather because you want to start playing classes that go into leather. Or if you've been playing a class that comes with leather, then you may want the benefits that you can now get rid of a discipline runestone that was enabling you to wear plate on that class, so you would get the plate benefits.
Right.
That's kind of, we have so many
lots of avenues.
We have so many avenues, and we're always trying to give you at least 3. I think seems to be our kind of current one. Well, it's like they can tackle the problem this way, or they can tackle it this way, or they can tackle it this way. Basically, you guys will have lots of choice, And once all of the gameplay elements are in there, obviously there will be an optimal route, but it won't always be available. Just because it's optimal doesn't mean it's going to be available. So you will have to find those things and build your character and do all of the gameplay finding of things to get those things. Anyways, next question. Several classes have skills for all armor types. It's funny that Blazin mentions that because he's talking about the archetype trees.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Archetype trees.
The archetype trees are getting hit by a tsunami, and they're being replaced by something else. So I would remember some of those skills fondly.
Take pictures.
Take pictures.
You can remember. You can talk about the day when there was a Legionnaire.
Remember the day that there was a
tree.
Legionnaire skill tree and the day that there was a Templar skill tree? Yes, those things are being replaced by something new. Again, that's in a future update. Some of those skills will survive the tsunami, but a lot of them will get washed away.
Screelings asked, stealth is only revealed by powers now, not stats.
Well, you get the stats from a power.
Or you get, yes, so there's two components to revealing stealth now. There is the, how big is the area that I see stealth things in, which is called your anti-stealth rating, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you activate the power, it actually turns that on. So normally you have no awareness of the stealth world, which is why Illusionist gets their reveal,
Mole Hunter is one.
Yeah, Mole Hunter has one, and I believe Ranger is getting one if they don't already have it. But that's the whole, we're getting a new animation for it. I've asked Cook for it, which is hey, I'm looking around, and when you see somebody doing this, you're going to know that they're activating their anti-stealth. Once it activates, then their rating goes in, and if they have a very small stat, they're not going to see very far. If they've gotten a bunch of anti-stealth rating, the bubble that they can see, and I think it goes out to 25 meters now, so basically it's pretty big.
Yeah.
But that's a max skilled person. And what's going to happen is every stealther has a bubble. Basically, you can think of it as how much noise they're producing. That is how far they can be to be revealed. So someone who has a lot of stealth skill, their bubble is very small. Someone who doesn't have a lot of stealth skill, or maybe say is stealth while wearing plate, has a very big noise bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone has a lot of anti-stealth and the stealther has low stealth, they'll be very easy to see when they start looking in the shadows. If someone has a lot of stealth skill, their bubble will be small, and right. So you guys can you can put those combos together.
So with the tsunami coming, can they expect a skill wipe around that time?
Since a lot of your training in archetype is not going to be useful anymore, I don't know that there's a point to keeping some of those around. So probably sometime in the future. I mean, we haven't done one yet.
Yeah.
We haven't had to do one yet, and it's a good time to actually go through and walk through the trees again. So yes, at some point in the future there will be the skill wipe. Stalker question: can you elaborate a bit on it and the changes it will bring to the Ranger? Well, again, the Stalker functionality is going to get folded into the Ranger, which is basically the anti-stealth component. And the Elkin, I believe obviously I'm not showing the racial today because we showed you the Ganesan.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they get a distance increaser. So again, the vision has always been that the Stalker would be kind of a sniper, and we can do that with just increasing their distance.
Right.
As part of their racial, which would only apply to the Ranger.
Right.
Because obviously the range. Does Stalker, or does Elkin get Cleric?
Well, I thought you could be Confessor too, am I wrong?
They do get Confessor.
Yeah, so you can be, which is awesome.
So that range increase will also apply to
Pure Mage.
To the Confessor fireballs, as well as if we're giving them Cleric, then the hammers will also go.
That's true.
They don't get Cleric. They get Knight, Confessor, Templar, and Ranger.
Okay.
So then it won't apply to the hammers because they don't get Cleric yet. But their Confessor fireballs will shoot further, as well as their. Yeah, they will be the distance class, and their model is looking badass.
Yeah,
we've seen it on Eric's Eric's monitor. He's been working on that. It's going to be interesting. We're not going to be able to do our standard archetype reveal as we did in the past. Thanks for coming out to see what we've done in the last month in review. You will get to see this all in your hands soon, hopefully.
Hopefully,
Imminently, as long as we're really excited for you guys. Because again, we love the videos, and when the videos start to get stale, it's like we're running out of things to tweak. You guys need the next round of stuff so we can start polishing that. And you will have fun, I'm hoping, in the new world, and then we'll start standing those systems up, so the sieges and stuff will come online. So we're looking forward to it. Good stuff. It will be an exciting August, we're hoping, and we're in the middle of July, so hopefully July will be exciting too.
What month is it? Oh God.
Yeah, time just starts to meld after you've been building for so long. So thanks for coming out, and we will see you guys in a future update.